Ever dreamt that you had a superpower so great, and whenever you used it, something magical happened? Maybe your superpower was that every time you opened your mouth to speak or to sing, people will be greatly drawn to your words. Maybe it was flying, but whatever it is, every time you used it, it used to work. But one day, it stopped working when you needed it the most. Now, before you get confused, I'm talking about palm color tears. A palm color woman was trying to get answers from the protesters at one of the schools. So she tried all her best to ask and try to find out why they were protesting, but they couldn't answer her back. So she took to her palm color tears, but unfortunately, they too didn't work. I hope I didn't lose you there on the superpower dream, but this is what palm coloreds feel. Their palm color tears are to them a superpower, something they can use in times of need, such as when questioning somebody or when they want somebody to appear that that person is guilty and them innocent. This video will help us question the narrative of whether people are waking up to reality now. Let's take a look at some of these videos and we'll have a discussion later.
We've been seeing all over the news all the craziness that's happening on college campuses, especially at UCLA, so I decided to come here for myself. Do you mind if I interview?
I'm not going to talk to media.
Excuse me, do you guys want to tell me what's going on here?
No, sorry, I'm not letting any media in, just so you know.
Okay, we were just standing outside, just trying to... Are we allowed to ask you guys a few questions about it? A lot of us just don't feel comfortable.
I can direct you to the liaison.
We're not gonna interview with you today. Not gonna engage with people that are gonna be pushing us.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
No, agitators aren't allowed.
Talk to one of our media.
They won't speak to me. No one will speak to me.
There's a desk over there with me.
I've spoken to them. They won't speak to me.
Well, then you can try again.
I've tried, and this lady specifically is telling me I'm an agitator.
Don't engage with agitators.
I'm just trying to understand what you're protesting. For some reason, no one from your guys' team will let you guys speak, and I don't know why you guys can't speak to me. And like, this is so intimidating and scary for you guys to be standing here. I literally have walked around for the past 2 hours just asking peaceful questions like, what's going on here today? Why are you guys here? And no one can speak to me. And you guys are laughing. I don't understand how this is funny. I genuinely wanted to learn from you. And I wish we could have ended in a hug. That's actually what I hoped from this. That's my dream from all of this, that we could understand each other.
I think we need more barricade, guys.
Hi guys. So as you guys all know, since the 7th, I've been incredibly strong and fearless, honestly, and I've, went to Israel and I've shown up at all the rallies and protests and post every day, and I'm not scared of anything, and I don't let anything get to me, and I'm strong for myself, for my family, for all of you. But today at UCLA really, really got to me. To see all these people being so brainwashed and really be like a cult. It was a full cult there. They're camping out, and when I ask them peacefully and nicely, why are they here and what are they protesting and what message do they want to get out to the world, I was extremely kind and nice, and I took all of my Israel Jewish jewelry off and literally was just trying to learn and understand. They all sounded like robots, and they would just say, you have to talk to our media liaison. We won't speak to you. We don't speak to intruders. We don't speak to perpetrators. We don't speak to violators, or I forgot the exact words that they kept calling me. I have it on film. And I literally was so nice, just trying to understand them and ask them why they are there. And they couldn't speak to me. And then finally they barricaded me. They had like 50 students come with their arms around each other, all fully covered and staring at me, and they wouldn't let me even walk by, even though it's public property, and they wouldn't even let me walk by. And I literally tried to have a conversation with them saying, I'm really trying to learn and understand you guys. Please tell me. They started barricading me and wouldn't let me go, and said if I walked into them that they were going to physically stop me from going. And I didn't want anything to get violent. Again, I wasn't there to cause any stress or harm. I literally was trying to learn and understand. And for the first time ever, I broke down in front of them, and I'm so mad at myself for doing that. But I just was staring at them in their eyes, and I couldn't understand how they could be so brainwashed. And some of them were truly evil, and it's just so sad that this is what our world has come to. And I'm upset, I'm hurt, I'm angry, but it just makes me now show even more of why I need to keep doing the work that I'm doing and why we all need to keep standing up to this. And I really hope for a world and a day when we can all be in peace and we can all have conversations and learn from each other. But I'm so disheartened about what happened.
The video of the girl Montana Tucker going to the college campus and trying to interview people about why they're protesting, which, like, Google's free. We all know why they're there, because there's a gym on. And then people refusing to answer her questions, and several of them referring her to the media liaison, which is, they're like right over there. And if she really truly had questions and was curious as to what was going on, she could have just waltzed right over there and asked any question she wanted. And I'm sure they would have responded in a very articulate and clear manner. Instead, she was trying to get other people, like random people, to answer her questions. And there's no obligation for them to answer your questions at all. And what they did, I would have done that same thing. I wouldn't have answered questions. I typically don't answer questions from anybody with a microphone. Absolutely not. And then the whole segment ended with her crying. Well, there's these people standing there not doing anything, not saying anything, and she's like, it's really intimidating me. Like, what? Then turn around and walk away. Because best believe if they're preventing you from walking away, you would have had it on film, but they weren't. They were just standing there. And because they were standing there and not wanting to answer your questions, you thought that those crocodile tears would do something. Be for real. And then her the comment section was like, you're so brave. For what? Going out there to a college campus, trying to ask questions, people refusing, you not going to their media liaison, then crying, and then posting this on the internet. So brave. Really. God's strongest soldier. Please.
That Montana Tucker girl is like, that's an anomaly there, but not really. You walk up to a group of people who have had their voices be clipped for malicious purposes. You walk up to a group of people who have been dealing with violence, and you're like, no, I just want to talk to you. No, like, just talk to me about your cause. Talk to me about your cause. Why would I want to talk to you? People are like, not idiots. People can tell when you're coming up to them trying to get a clip, especially in this day and age, trying to get a clip, trying to edit something so it will say what you want. So why would I F you? And then the cherry on top of it to start fighting. Girl, get up and go. I wish this could have ended in a hug. Well, it didn't, so goodbye. Why would they want to do that? It's just so weird, and it aims to center yourself instead of Palestinians. It's odd.
The first thing I noticed in that clip when she said, I don't understand what's funny, is that the lineup was literally BIPOC. And so immediately I understood, like, white woman tears are like comical when you understand how they were. But secondly, knowing that there's encampments and protests going on in at least 50 different universities, you have the resources and foundation to research yourself. But what you want to do is clip for entertainment and to exploit these people. And since they're not allowing it, it's the tears. Like, white entitlement is insane, especially when it's attached to white fragility. This also reminded me of when I was in a protest in 2021 and I was cursing respectfully and as I should. And this white man literally told me to stop cursing. And I was like, stop tone policing me. And I remember he was just like, and 2 years later, he came up to me and apologized to me. And I remember I was just like, I don't accept your apology. Like, I just stood there like, because the apology is for you, not for me. You already tried to embarrass me and call me out in front of literal whites. So what's the apology for? Change actions is all I need to see.
Harassing the student protesters. She's crying. A dancing TikToker turned wannabe reporter suddenly, crying because they don't want to talk to her. Well, let me tell you a little something about being a reporter, because I was one in DC. And so was this commenter. As a professional reporter, these people don't owe you anything. If they don't want to talk to you right now, they don't have to. You don't know what their reasons are, and you don't have to. Montana Tucker. Alibaba is saying, I wouldn't answer you either. You know what's going on and what's happening. Don't act delusional. You're insufferable. How is this real life? Well, let's look at this. 9.2 million followers, and she follows no one. She doesn't care about anyone else. This right here just shows she's not interested in networking or community. She's interested in herself. Hello? And what artist doesn't network? What artist has no bio yet? You're a phony dancing TikToker. And that's it. By the way, her video has 1.6 million views. but only 745 comments, which is weird because my video about her has 10 times less views, but 3 times more comments. She's deleting comments. Most of the comments that are left are saying students who are protesting but can't verbalize what they are protesting is so despicable. What moronic sheep. They don't have to verbalize it. It's been going on for 6 months, babe. You should know what they're protesting already. These kids don't know what they're protesting. Gather them and send them to Palestine. Wow. I really hope the face covers will help them when this is over. We know who you are, each and every one of you. We never forget. Is that a threat? Talking about Halloween masks. Do you know how people protest these days? Because, hello? Calling them a cult when they're saying they just don't engage with agitators. Calling them a cult for standing up against... How does she have a platform of 9.2 million followers? And the people who are actual reporters, including myself, have been kicked off this app several times. You know what you did, Montana Tucker? You went into someone else's territory and tried to tell them what to do, and then started crying like a little baby when they didn't do what you wanted. Sounds a little familiar, don't you think? We see through you, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha.
So a point that's being largely unaddressed in the way that people are talking about the protests currently happening across college campuses is the fact that regardless of whether or not people feel like the college students have a right to protest and have encampments on their campus, the counter-protesters have primarily been adults that have no affiliation with the colleges or universities that they are counter-protesting at. So the contradiction in telling students that are paying tuition, and even if they're not paying tuition, that are offering some type of financial stake in their school or university, should not be able to voice opinion, should not be able to gather on those universities while allowing for outside forces to come in and cause physical harm to those students. Now, many universities are not held accountable for the ways in which they don't protect their students, and this goes so much further past what we're seeing right now. At the universities that I attended, there were so many issues when it came to assault on campus, even with people who were not affiliated with the campus. At many universities prior, there's been an issue of affiliations, of allowing for organizations that are external from the campus to bring a form of chaos and pain to the campus. One of these things is the Kyle Rittenhouse Tour, which is hosted by Turning Point USA, which is not a college organization and is funded by adults, especially people that are in the conservative side of politics and older politicians. But you have people that are students gathering, and they are being threatened to be expelled for being on their campus, on their university. And so the contradiction of this is something that I really don't see a lot of people talking about, is just the ways in which schools and universities are able to wrap different rules and regulations around convenient narratives.
These kids on these college campuses are so incredibly organized and so incredibly brave. One of their guidelines for the encampments is to not speak to the press and to not engage with agitators, so that there can be no sound bites of them lashing out or doing anything violent. They are purely camping, protests around them, and specifically not engaging with the press, not engaging with agitators. Because we know that during the Black Lives Matter protests, people in this country actually believe that cities burn. They actually believe that, which is hilarious. And so everyone is waiting, chomping at the bit for these protests to become violent, or if just for some shred of violence to go across their screen to be able to disregard the entire movement. So I just want to say, keep it up, guys. You're doing a great job.
Now, before we jump into the details of the protests and what is taking place as of now, let's look at the reason as to why palm colors depend on their tears so much. So to understand the significance of white women's tears, it is crucial to acknowledge the historical context in which this phenomenon emerged. Throughout history, white women have been positioned at the intersection of privilege and oppression. So it's all about privilege and oppression. They feel privileged and they are privileged, and the other side is oppressed. So there are certain things that they use to enhance that privilege, and white tears or palm-colored tears is one of those things. So while they have benefited from systems of white supremacy and patriarchy, they have also been subject to restrictive gender norms and societal expectations. In this context, tears have served as a means of navigating and negotiating power dynamics. So the word there they're talking about is negotiating. That's the key word, negotiating. And what's the result, or what is being subjected here? It is power dynamics. So this is one of the ways they use to negotiate power dynamics. So through their palm color tears, they're able to assert dominance, right? But in this case, it didn't work. But that's what she was aiming for. Emotional labor and manipulation. Palm color women's tears are often perceived as a form of emotional labor, strategically deployed to elicit sympathy, deflect accountability, or exert control in interpersonal and professional settings. As we've seen in that video, she was trying to assert control. She was trying to show her power, but it didn't work. This manipulation can be traced back to the historical construction of white femininity as delicate, vulnerable, and in need of protection. So what they mean here is this thing, it started out as palm color women were more vulnerable and perceived as more feminine. Hence, every time they shed tears, power and control has to be given to them because they are in need of something. It's like what you get when you are in a family of maybe 6 siblings and then the last born. The last born is usually the one that demands control and power. As the saying goes, the baby is the boss of the family. So in this case, palm color women are more like babies. Whenever they cry, whatever they need is given to them. By tapping into these stereotypes, white women may exploit the empathy of others to advance their own interests. Intersectionality and privilege. However, the reliance on tears is not solely a manifestation of individual behavior, but also intersects with broader systems of privilege and oppression. So sometimes they wouldn't want to do it, but knowing that it works, they find themselves doing it. White women, particularly those who occupy positions of wealth and societal status, may leverage their tears to reinforce existing power structures and perpetuate inequalities. Maybe this is a reality that we are seeing. Perhaps this palm color woman comes from a position or high status in society, and maybe that's the reason why her social media platform is full of a lot of followers. She's in the millions, but she doesn't follow anybody, and that in itself is a social privilege or a high status digitally. That is, by positioning themselves as victims, they can deflect attention away from their own complicity in systems of oppression and maintain their privileged status, perceived innocence, and victimhood. Moreover, the portrayal of palm color women as innocent victims is deeply ingrained in popular culture and media representations, from damsels in distress to tragic heroines. The archetype of whipping white women has been romanticized and fetishized. I hope it's the right word there. This portrayal not only reinforces racial and gender stereotypes, but also obscures the agency and capability of white women in perpetuating injustice, resistance, and reclamation. Despite the pervasive influence of palm color women's tears, there are always signs of resistance and reclamation within marginalized communities. Black, indigenous, and women of color have largely challenged the narrative of white female victimhood, highlighting the ways in which tears can be used as a form of a pew-pew, or something that can be used to subdue others. Through collective action and solidarity, they are reclaiming their voices and challenging the systems of power that uphold palm color dominance and patriarchy. So that's the reason why we saw those people in that video laughing. Perhaps somebody educated them on what to do when a palm color woman has presented herself in such a situation. And what they did is the right thing, because they proved to her that we can actually dismantle this stereotype and the privilege that palm coloreds have towards marginalized communities. So the summary of what really took place with the pro-Palestinian protesters at UCS. So this is the recent article that I was able to find, and it's got a picture of Free Palestine in front of the university. So they drew something like Free Palestine. I don't know if those are flowers, but they put flowers and some lights in front of the university. And it describes it as people stand near a flower arrangement that reads Free Palestine during a protest in support of Palestinians in Gaza at the University of South California amid the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestinian Islamist group Hamas in Los Angeles. The move, days before commencement events are set to begin on the Los Angeles campus, came after the university said campus safety officers, assisted by the Los Angeles Police Department, were clearing the area. And that's it for today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for visiting our channel. Signing off.